Real Enigmas and Theories is back again with another video.
You know, this place is...
I'm going right in because there's a lot. So in my last video, I showed you the devil egg platter and how it references the manner of death of our favorite pancake chef. Deviled eggs are also called dressed eggs. Boiled eggs, peeled, the inside scooped out, and redressed and presented on a plate. Tien Chen's skin was literally peeled, her insides were scooped out, and her body was redressed by Jade and Christy, and her picture was literally presented on a deviled egg platter. The trolling with that was unbelievable. Now, I've been talking about the egg or ovum, the Vesica Pisces, and other fertility-related symbolism since season 2. And I even broke it down in my season 3 episode 1 breakdown, and for them to double back with the egg plate only confirmed that my YouTube channel wasn't just some strange case of apophenia. Even when Victor's father said that he owes the cops a dozen, I knew that that was the writer's way of conveying a message about the number 12, which is the hospital floor that Tabitha was on, and the number of egg slots on Tien Chen's platter. But something else Victor's father said during his jewel-dropping speech about the first time Miranda started hearing the voices and seeing the visions, he spoke about the couple going on an acid trip. And this acid trip enabled Miranda to see in the past at others who had been chosen to see inside of Frumlin. Henry's story made me think about all of the references about getting high on the show, like Jade, the bicycle man, coming into town under the influence of something. The mentions of people getting high. I remember Jim saying that they needed to get to the high ground, sitting at the highest point on the highest hill. Even when the song Who by Fire comes on, which is inspired by the Unatana Tokef, which was recited during the high holy days. One of the times that spoke to me the most was when Fatima takes Julie upstairs and says this:
"And if you climb high enough, even a nightmare can look like a dream."
And how Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz does this statement sound? Now, I had also been noticing some connections to the L. Frank Baum book entitled The Wizard of Oz, but I couldn't quite put all the pieces together. But hindsight is 20/20, 99.22% of the time. In this particular scene was hindsight at the end of season 2, when I noticed Tabitha pulling the curtain to the left to see the sun, and Fatima pulling the curtain to the right so Julie could look at the crescent moon. But now with the revelation of the acid trip, coupled with my suspicions about the Wizard of Oz, makes me look back at this scene yet again and not just focus on the curtains, but the esoteric value of the dialogue.
And if you climb high enough, even a nightmare can look like a dream.
It reminds me of the most memorable song from The Wizard of Oz, Somewhere Over the Rainbow, Way Up High. There's a land that I heard of once in a lullaby. Mind you, Dorothy sings this song before she enters Oz. Kinda sounds familiar to what Miranda was going through. And the underlining similarities circle around specific plot points in From. The house falling on the witch, much like the house in From falling on a guy named Brick. And Donna even mentions the yellow brick road. We also have the time where Dorothy fell asleep in the opium poppy field, and the so-called good witch wakes them up with snow or cocaine. I mean, the drug references are right in front of your face, and we know that Miranda was on an acid trip when she began to see this place. Even the Wizard of Oz itself looks like an acid trip. And Brian says this in the bar with Kelly:
"This whole fucking place is weird. It's like we drove into a goddamn acid trip.
Hey yo, shout out to Jada Kissable for pointing that out in the comment. I noticed it too, but I definitely had to give you a shout out for having out your magnifying glass. Even Dorothy's guardians were named Auntie M and Uncle Henry. But I know that M stands for Emily, but the name still was Auntie M. And you had M as in Miranda and Henry. the parents of Victor and Eloise. The Wizard of Oz book was also a work of deeper meaning, much like From in the esoteric sense. The esoteric meaning in the book The Wizard of Oz makes reference to the creating of debt slaves out of the U.S. population and the enslavement of indigenous people by the banking systems. The witches of the North, East, South, and West represent the international banking system. Dorothy's house falling on the witch represented ownership and equity crushing the banking system and ruling over the small people, or the munchkins. This freed the munchkins from debt slavery, and in return, they presented Dorothy with the death certificate of the witch, which represents the death and birth recording system that emerged with the fiat currency, or greenbacks. Birth and death records are actually printed on the exact same paper stock as money, or fiat currency. And it's been that way since the erasure of gold and silver being traded for good. In the book, the ruby red slippers were actually silver, and they took a path down the yellow brick road which symbolized the gold, ounces of gold and ounces of silver. And the abbreviation for ounces is OZ, Oz. The winged monkeys symbolize the indigenous tribes who were used as runaway slave catchers. In the Wizard of Oz book, the king of the winged monkeys explains that his tribe was peaceful and had been enslaved by the witch to do her evil bidding. From also references controversial historic subject matter and indigenous tropes that have been interweaved into From as a product. And these esoteric clues may actually play an overall part in the plot. I mean, we have Puritan references, Native American references, Civil War, Jim Crow. And if you want to see more of those references that I've pointed out, you can go check out some of my previous videos. Now, these aren't the only undertones that connect these works of art. The various religious formalities in From, like the Hindu, Viking, Scottish, Christian, Hebrew, and all the other nuances that are scattered around the show. L. Frank Baum's father was heavily involved in Freemasonry, and he introduced his son to the esoteric and occult nature of secret societies. L. Frank Baum himself went on to join the Theosophical Society, which was founded by several occultists in 1875. Helena Blavatsky, Henry Steele Olcott, and William Quan Judge were amongst the 17. Much like the show, the Theosophical Society's beliefs are rooted in multiple religious schools of thought. From displays this same notion with the subtle references to different religious clues and cultural nuances. Even the Masonic clues like the Tyler who guards the door, Ellis in his pose. We have chessboards and two towers representing Joaquin and Boaz. Secret societies like the Odd Fellows and the Cabbage Patch Kids. Dorothy even refers to the Cowardly Lion as a big old cabbage. And let's not forget about the good witch Glinda, who's dressed in white, who sent Dorothy all the way to the Emerald City when she could have just told her to clack her heels together with the ruby red slippers or the silver slippers. That's just like the boy in white who seems to know how to send people home. So there it is, just a few connections about the Wizard of Oz that I noted. Let me know in the comments if you have any more. I'm sure we'll see some come up in the next episodes and seasons, so just hold your hat. Anyway, just a little something to think about while we wait on the next episode. That's all for my video today. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.